The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone, and this is Tony Butler with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I'm the Life Sales Director here, and I want to thank you guys for joining our webinar today. We will be joined by Morgan Holbein, who is the Individual Regional Sales Coordinator, Individual Sales with Assurity. And with May being Disability Awareness Month, we wanted to discuss some opportunities that are available to you agents as far as disability insurance. So before we get started on that, a couple of housekeeping items that I want to discuss here real quick. Here at IMES, would like to remind you that we do have a referral producer program. So when you as an agent refer another agent and they get contracted with one of the carriers that we work with, we do provide you with the $50 referral bonus. Once that referral starts writing business, we do a $100 bonus, and then you have the ability to earn up to 20 basis points on business that they write thereafter. For you new producers, we do have a new producer builder for you getting contracted and start writing business within the first 6 months. We have 3 different tiers available to you. $100 level, you can get a $750 cash bonus, 2-year producer website or an iPad. If you feel that you're going to write more business than that within that time frame, we have the $300,000 level, where you can get $2,000 marketing reimbursement. We do provide a $1,500 gift card, and there is a Social Security program that you can choose in a 3,000-piece mailer. Now, if you're really going to gangbusters and you want to achieve the $500,000 level, there's a couple of different options available for you as far as seminar coaching with 2 of our top producers. One is with Matt Gill. The other is with Dave Pemper. There is also a Ritz-Carlton package if you choose to go with that. Now, I'd like to mention about our back office support. We're here to help you work smarter, not harder. We can help you with case design. We have top sales coaching and expertise available for you. We do provide paperless contracting for you if you're looking to get appointed with multiple carriers. As far as case management goes, when applications are submitted, we do touch those apps every 3 days and provide you with the status update just to ensure that those applications are proceeding in a timely fashion. We also have a creative marketing solutions department that can help you, whether it's with logo design, you need a logo design, or you're looking to kind of update your logo design, business cards or brochures or stationery. We can also help you with digital marketing, online marketing projects, whether it's your personal website. If you're looking for digital marketing strategies, they can help you with that as well. Now, our IMES website, available 24/7. There's some excellent sales tools on our website. For you life agents, we do have a quoting engine that allows you to quote both term products as well as guaranteed UL products. You can access forms, I should say, online. If you do long-term care, we do have a long-term care product grid. We also have an annuity grid and current annuity news for those of you that are writing annuities. We do also have Retirement Analyzer for you to help your clients show when they can retire safely without running out of money. If you have any questions regarding that, please feel free to give us a call. Our IAMS Wealth Management team is available for you to help your clients increase revenue, improve client retention, strengthen your relationships with your client. Again, if you have any questions regarding IAMS Wealth Management, feel free to give me a call. We can get you over to Charles or James. They can help you out with that. We try and conduct a life and annuity academy once a quarter. It's a 2-day producer training. We talk about sales ideas and concepts. We discuss anything from sales software tools to trending products, business insurance concepts. If you have any questions regarding our Life and Annuity Academy, please feel free to give us a call here at 800-255-5055 for the 2018 dates and locations. As a reminder, we do pay for the cost of travel and lodging for you. So that is, bill that IAMS picks up for you to help you grow your business. Our marketing summit is in Naples, Florida this year. It's from August 25th through the 29th. The invitational period is January 1 of 2018 through June 30th of 2019. We have a lot of agents that have already qualified for this trip. Here's the details as far as eligibility with any combination of the business here. One thing I want to point out real quick before we get started, if you would like information on our Life and Annuity Academy, I'm going to launch something here and let me know. Just check yes or no if you would like to get additional information on the Academy. So I'm going to leave that up here for a second. Okay. See, we've got quite a few people that responded. So close that down. Okay, now I'm going to turn this over to Morgan Hobein, and she's going to talk about turning objections into opportunities. Let me switch presenters here. Okay. Morgan, are you there?
Yes, I am. Perfect. So let me start this. If at any time you're unable to hear me or see my screen, definitely let me know. There is a chat box as well, so if you have questions throughout, feel free to chat in that box, and either Tony or I will get around to those as we see them, or we can answer them all at the end, or reach out to IAMS afterwards and ask any questions that you have. So we do have our Leaders Conference screen up here. You as individual agents can qualify for Assurity's Leaders Conference trip as well, that we do every year. Our group actually just got back from Hawaii not too long ago, about a week ago. Next year we're going to Prague. So if you are interested in attending that trip as well, feel free to talk with us about what those individual requirements are as a single agent. So moving on to that next screen, just what we're going to talk about today, as we are nearing the month of May. May is actually Disability Income Awareness Month. So we are going to focus completely on Assurity's DI product today, and really go over the ins and outs of the product itself, as well as how to turn those objections about DI into opportunities. Just because we know that this product is probably one of the toughest to sell, but it also has the most reward, I would say, for both the agent and the client. And it's a lot more important than people think. So we're going to move on forward. Like Tony said, my name is Morgan Hobein. I'm the Regional Sales Coordinator at Assurity, and Paige and I work as a regional team and work closely with IAMS as a group, and we've been partnered with them for quite a while. So feel free to reach out to either one of us if you have questions. And we are located just down the road from IAMS. We are in Lincoln, Nebraska. and that's our office building right there. We've been in business for over 125 years. And actually, the first policy that we ever wrote was a disability policy. So we've been doing this disability stuff for quite a while, and it's something Paige and I really like to focus on in our territory, just because we do think it's so important and so beneficial to both the agent and the client. Just a few other things about Assurity. We do have the first certified LEED Gold building in the state of Nebraska, which is something we pride ourselves on. And we are also a certified B Corporation. So if you've ever heard of the company Patagonia, I think there's a couple others that are bigger, and I can't remember them now off the top of my head. They're also certified B Corporation companies as well. So if you kind of think about their brands and what they stand for, we're very environmentally friendly, our whole building and the surrounding grounds. And then we're a real high-tech company and building as well, and like to keep current on those. Along with, just the building, we as a company also really get out into the community and help with volunteering. Like I said, the grounds have been completely revamped. We are part of the big Antelope Park redesign. So we really get out there in the community and do all we can to help in that way. Also, everyone that works at Assurity, besides a few of our sales reps, actually work in the building. So we don't outsource anything, everything from claims to our customer connections team to sales, underwriting, everything's all in one building. So we really pride ourselves on being really easy to reach and really easy to work with because of our ease of communicating between our entire building. So it's just a little bit about Assurity and who we are as a company. So going over the agenda for this morning, like I said, we're going to focus primarily on disability income insurance. And we do have a full product portfolio actually for our disability products. We have 4 different products that go into it. So we'll talk about each one of those. And then also the target markets for those. We'll talk about how to overcome those objections and, the common objections that we hear from people who you are trying to sell to, and just how to overcome those. And then we'll also go over the process, as we know that's a really important part, being able to get your applications in and out the door with as little time and ease as possible. So like I mentioned, we have 4 different products in our disability portfolio. We have our Century Plus, which is our fully underwritten product. It's definitely the most used product out of this portfolio, so it's the one we'll spend the most time on. But another I really want to highlight today as well is our Simplified disability. It obviously provides less of a benefit, but there's a lot more people that fit into that category than you realize. And it, like the name says, it keeps the process really simplified. So no income verification, no medical exams, which everyone I'm sure can get behind. So we'll go a little more in depth than usual on that product as well. We also have a business overhead expense, which kind of goes with one of our biggest target markets, which is small business owners. So we'll talk about how to package a couple of our disability products into one for those small business owners. And then we have a graded benefit product as well, and that's for the impaired risk. So those who might have some health issues or work in a like a high-risk occupation. It's automatically offered to those who are declined for Century Plus or Simplified. So we'll jump right into that Century Plus disability. I did say that this was probably our most commonly used product or most popular product. It is a fully underwritten product, but we have some non-med limits built into it as well. So issue ages, we go 18 to age 60. Our occupation classes go 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. So the 4A is going to be more of the desk jobs, and the 1A is going to be more of the blue-collar workers, kind of hands-on, more high-risk occupation. 3A is going to be most of your medical. Maximum issue limit is $20,000 a month, which equates to about a $450,000 annual income. Again, I mentioned those non-med limits. That's actually capped at $3,000. So keep that in mind. $2,500 for the self-employed. Benefit periods, we start at 1 year and we'll go all the way up to age 67, depending on their age and their occupation class. Elimination periods, that waiting period is going to be 30 days all the way up to a year. It is guaranteed renewable to age 65, and there is a ton of opportunity to really customize this policy with the riders, and we're going to go into those in a lot more detail here in a few slides. One thing I do want to bring up that's really important with our product specifically is the true Onaka definition that we have built into the policy. So for the first 2 years after that person is considered totally disabled, after that elimination period is also satisfied, if that total disability keeps the insured from doing all the substantial material duties of their own occupation, so the one that they were trained and educated for, we will still pay out that benefit based on that occupation. So this is best described using an example. An example I like to use is the example of an ER nurse. So ER nurses, they're on their feet a lot, really moving around, they're lifting patients. A lot of physical work goes into that job. So we have an ER nurse who gets into a car accident and she hurts her back. So she is unable to do the material duties of the job she was trained for, which was to be an ER nurse, so on her feet and lifting patients. But she is able to work full-time still, checking people into the emergency room. So since we have that true Onaka definition for the first 2 years, we will pay her at her ER nurse benefit, whatever that benefit amount was, even though she's working full-time and making a salary, even if it might be a little bit less. So we'll pay her for those first 2 years, and then after that, if she's still working full-time, checking people into the ER, or she goes back to work as an ER nurse or whatnot, we will just stop paying that claim. Now, there is a rider that you can extend that out to whatever benefit period, so the 5, 10 to age 65, age 67, if you would like, and we'll go into that on the riders page a little bit more. But the 2 years is built in, which is really nice, and you don't see on a lot of disability policies. So makes ours very unique. If you have more questions about that, definitely let us know. So just to go dive a little bit deeper into those occupations. So like I mentioned, the 4A is going to be more of the desk jobs. So insurance agents, you'll fit right into that occupation, accountants, desk jobs. 3A is going to be pretty much all of your medical fields. The only one that isn't going to be included in that would be a nurse in a doctor's office setting. They'll actually be considered a 4A, which is really cool. All other medical, especially those that work in a hospital or in a lab or dental hygienist, is going to be a 3A. And a dental hygienist is also another niche I'll mention real quick with Assurity, because a lot of carriers will not take dental hygienists at all for whatever reason, but we'll actually take them at a 3A. So they're getting a great occupation class there. 2A is going to be getting more into the blue collar workers, working with their hands on their feet all day. So we have the mechanics, cosmetologists, farmers, plumbers. So farmers is a big one, obviously, especially around here. 1A, that's going to be your painters, roofers, you know, a lot more high risk. They're, you know, they're on roofs, they're on ladders, working with their hands, all of that. Chiropractors, that's another niche we have. They're put at a 1A because most people will not take them at all because of issues they've had with claims in the past. So, but we will actually take them, and we'll take them at a 1A. So that next slide here, we're going to go over our riders. Now, I'm just going to touch on a good amount of these, but not all of them, just because it would take pretty much all day to go over them. But like I mentioned, there's a ton of opportunity to really customize the policy that you're creating for that client based on these riders. So depending on their occupation, their age, whatnot, these could be really helpful to them in really closing out and coming full circle to the kind of coverage that they need. So the first one, we actually have a couple slides on, so we'll talk about it here in a little bit, but that's our Social Security offset rider. A critical illness rider, we'll jump down to that one. If you've looked at our critical illness standalone product at all, it actually works exactly like that, so very similar. But the way it works is it is a lump sum benefit that's paid upon diagnosis of one of our covered illnesses. And if you run an illustration or you end up adding it to the policy, or if you want to look at a sample policy, that's all on AssureLink. But it'll show you that chart. It's also in our product guide as well, which is on AssureLink. So we have 3 different categories, which will give you an idea of what we cover. We have a heart attack and stroke category, cancer, so invasive and non-invasive, and then an other category which covers things like organ transplant, Alzheimer's, paralysis, severe burns, stuff like that. So, and what is really cool about the product and about the rider, because they work exactly the same, is we take a 3-category approach to it. So I explained those categories already, but we will actually pay out a full benefit, so full lump sum benefit, once in each category. So it's not a one and done product. It's not a one and done rider. So if someone were to have a heart attack, we would pay out that full benefit. Let's say it's $20,000. We'll pay out that 20 upon having that heart attack. And then in a couple years, maybe 5-10 years, they are diagnosed with cancer, unfortunately. We will actually pay out another $20,000 upon diagnosis of that cancer. And then if something else were to happen that's in the other category, we'll pay out another $20,000, and then that policy would close. So it's not a one and done, which is awesome. So your $20,000 benefit you're selecting is actually turning into a $60,000, and it is a completely separate pool of money from that disability monthly benefit. So it will not take from that. It'll not reduce that monthly benefit that they'd be receiving for disability. So really cool option there that can really round out their coverage and make sure they're covered on all bases. Really cool product. Guaranteed insurability rider is an awesome one to add on to those younger ages, especially. I mean, it can work for anyone, but we like to add it on those younger ages. It's very affordable, and what it does is if the person comes back and is wanting more coverage later on, maybe they get a different job, or they just know they're going to keep, getting a raise as they go up in the company or as they get older or whatnot, they can raise that coverage amount without having to provide evidence of insurability, which is awesome. So adding that on, it's really not too expensive whatsoever. It's typically only a couple of bucks. So I would say an instant add-on for those younger ages for sure. The own occupation rider we talked about a little bit already. Basically, it takes that 2-year built-in definition and it extends it to whatever benefit period that you selected. So it could be the 5, 10 to age 65 or age 67. So it extends that amount of time that we will pay you for the job that you are trained to do, even if you're working full-time doing something else. So remember that example of that ER nurse that we talked about. Automatic benefit rider is like a COLA rider, so cost of living. We'll get down to the return of premium. That's an awesome one to add. It can be a little pricey. I wouldn't say it doubles the amount of the policy unless they are nearing age 60, then it might. But it's an awesome way to kind of seal the deal or close the sale. And I say that because there is an opportunity at the end of that policy, so when they turn 65, to be able to receive 100% of those premiums back, including all the premiums they paid for any riders they have on that policy. And it works on a schedule basis. So even if they don't make it to age 65 and they cancel or let the policy lapse before then, they'll at least receive a percentage back based on what year they're in. When you run an illustration on that, that'll be that percentage schedule will be on that second page. So feel free to run one, play around with it, and take a look at it. But typically once people see that and they see the thousands of dollars that they're going to receive back in a lump sum at the end, or if they cancel at some time, it makes them feel a lot better about their purchase and what they're investing into, because they might know they need it. They're just, worried about never using it. And that's one of our biggest objections that we get. So that is one way to overcome an objection, and that's a very common one. So moving on, we're going to talk a little bit more about that SDIR rider. So it is a Social Security offset rider. So money can come basically from two different places, from Assurity or one of the options here on the right. So that Social Security disability benefit from the government, workers' comp, government retirement disability fund, maybe they're on the railroad, so railroad retirement disability income. And this is how it works. So let's say the person is qualified for a $3,000 a month benefit. We put $2,000 into that base benefit, $1,000 into the SDIR, so it comes out to that full $3,000. So claim begins, they're totally disabled. Assurity provides those payments of $3,000 per month. Eventually, because we know Social Security can be a little slow, or sometimes you have to apply more than once to be able to get anything out of them, Social Security kicks in and they agree to pay $500 a month. So we have $1,000 in that SDIR to help out with that. So Assurity then pays $2,000 for that base benefit, $500 for the SDIR rider, and then Social Security sends their $500. So that total monthly benefit is still $3,000. It's just some of it is coming from Social Security and some of it is coming from Assurity. And what I like to do is I usually try and add some in the SDIR whenever I can. In the occupation class 1 and 2A, they are going to make you put at least something into the SDIR. When you are running that illustration, it'll tell you what you need to put in it at a minimum. For the 3As and 4As, you don't necessarily have to put anything in there. Again, I usually try to, just because it does take some of the risk off of Assurity, which in turn lowers their premium payment. So I like to add a little bit when I can. Okay, return of premium rider. So how that works, I mentioned it's on a percentage schedule. So this is, I'm not sure what age this person is. I'm guessing they're in their 30s, but this is just kind of an example. And this is what you'll see when you run an illustration. This will always be on the second page. So this person will start receiving, looks like at least something back, 5% back in year 3 of that completed policy. So if they were to make it to 25 plus years, or whenever they turn 65, they'll actually receive 100% of those premiums back that they paid in. Say they cancel or they let it lapse at year 10, they're going to receive 42% of those premiums that they paid in. And that includes for the base policy itself and then any riders that they have. So it's a pretty cool deal. Again, showing this is usually a great way to overcome the objection where they say, what if I never use it? That's a huge objection that you'll probably get time and time again. So this is a great way to overcome that. And again, it's not as expensive as you'd think it would be, especially for what you're getting in return. A little bit about our Century Plus DI underwriting, and this is with all of our disability, but we do take more of a traditional approach. I wouldn't say we're completely conservative, and I wouldn't say we're liberal by any means, but we take a pretty traditional approach. We're going to look at these 3 things in detail and above everything else. Occupation and job duties, so we want to know what they do on a day-to-day basis at work. We're going to look at their income. We're going to look at gross monthly income for those non-self-employed, net income for the self-employed, and then we're going to look at their health as well. So if you want to get a preliminary assessment, make sure to really let us know all of those health details or those health issues that they might have. We can offer coverage with ratings, exclusions, or changes to the elimination and benefit periods, or a combination of those. And we can also modify coverage, so we can give them a specific elimination period, benefit period for a specific job or condition. So for example, we could eliminate or give them a lower back exclusion, knee exclusion, hip, whatever they have issues with. So just because they have a health issue like diabetes or they have an issue with their back or whatnot, doesn't automatically mean that they're going to have premiums through the roof. It doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be declined. It just means we might be able to offer with an exclusion, which really helps keep that cost down. So I want to talk a little bit more about that simplified disability income insurance. I think a lot of times we kind of speed through this one just because it's pretty simple to understand, pretty straightforward, you know, no medical exams, no financial verification, only goes up to $3,000, whereas a Century Plus goes up to $20,000. Well, something I want to kind of show here, and I want to make sure I didn't have the other slide, is we actually, or someone did a study, we found a study actually, where over 90% of Americans have median housing costs per month of a little less than $1,500. So a little less than $1,500, and that includes mortgage, insurance, I think just mortgage and insurance, yes. And then utilities, that's what the other one was. I knew there was three things. So mortgage, insurance, and utilities, roughly for almost 90% of Americans comes out to a little less than $1,500. So when people think disability, they think they need to cover absolutely every bill. So they're like, oh, I need thousands and thousands of dollars, when really, if they just want to get, you know, they want to cover their biggest expenses. So their mortgage for sure, utilities, insurance, that's going to take care of a lot of their big expenses while they're disabled, because they may not be disabled for all that long, which in turn keeps their premium cost down. So you can really make it work into any budget, especially with that simplified. And you'll often get the objection that people don't want to go and do a pyramid. They don't want to turn in their financial verification because it takes time. And people don't have time these days, or they think they don't, and they just don't want to do that work involved. So this is a great way to bypass all of those pesky little, you know, pyramids, getting poked at the needle, having to find all your pay stubs and your tax returns and stuff like that. The most you'd be looking at is probably just a phone interview with our team, and that would just be to kind of verify some stuff if we find anything on script check, motor vehicle, all of that. So pretty simple here. It's issue ages 18 to 59, so we're losing a year from that Century Plus. We just have two occupation classes. We have a 1 and a 2, and actually it's kind of flip-flopped here. So the 1 is going to be the desk jobs, and the 2 is going to be the more high-risk jobs, or the blue-collar workers, people working with their hands up on ladders, roofs, stuff like that. So 1 and 2. Monthly benefit, we go up to $3,000, and again, it's going to be roughly 60% of their monthly income, and that goes for both Century Plus and Simplified. Benefit periods, we start at 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. Elimination or waiting period is going to be 30 up to half a year. So if someone is looking for a short-term disability, this would probably be a good one to show them, since this is the shortest we'll go on our benefit periods. It's at 6 months, whereas the Century Plus starts at 1 year. So if they're looking for a short term, this would be the one to point them to. And it is guaranteed renewable to age 67. There are a couple of riders that you can add on to this one as well. Not nearly as much as the Century Plus. All right, so business overhead. This one's pretty simple as well. It's a really cool product. So if you do know any business owners or have any in mind, this is a great product to talk to them about and pair it with their personal disability while you're at it. So that's Simplified or that Century Plus. So issue ages 18 to 60, we exclude the 1A occupation, but we do 2A, 3A, 4A. Maximum issue limit's $20,000 a month, and benefit period 1 or 2 years, elimination 30, 60, 90. And when I write expense reimbursement, what I'm meaning is going back to that issue limit. So we have an issue limit of $20,000. What we'll do is we'll take a look at their expenses. So most likely we're going to take a look at their Schedule C and their tax returns, or the Schedule C from their tax returns. Or if they have a spreadsheet, we can run a quote off that as well. But we'll want to see what their monthly expenses are, and we will pay payroll, utilities, mortgage, any leases, all of that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And there's a list in our product guide of what we will pay. And what it does, instead of giving you a lump sum of $20,000 to pay those bills every month, what we'll do is you'll go ahead and pay it, and we reimburse you for those expenses. And what's cool about it is if, say, they get $20,000, they're approved for $20,000 a month, and they only spend $18,000 that first month because maybe they were down a person or whatnot, we'll actually keep that $2,000 for the next month and roll it over. So the next month they'll actually have $22,000. So it's not a use it or lose it type product, which is really cool. They can really build there, or say they have to hire some extra help one month, they can take from that extra from the prior month. So cool product here. Business owners can write off the premiums on their taxes, so they really enjoy that as well. I didn't talk about really the graded product just because it works very similarly to our other products. Really the only difference is we grade the benefit for the first 2 years and then pay full after that. So again, that's for the impaired risk, high risk occupations, or people with medical issues that we're not able to cover with the Century Plus or the Simplified. So now I want to head into a little bit more of where our target markets are, specifically when we're talking about Assurity. So where our niches are, what we do best in. So when you think Assurity DI, you're thinking middle income, thinking small businesses, which I mentioned, and then we're thinking pink collar, which if you can guess, that's meaning occupations where women really dominate that market. So just some interesting statistics from the Bureau of Labor that we found. Management occupations are about 7 million in the United States, and their average salary per year is $118,000. Software developers, programmers are coming in a little over $100,000, and engineers are just below $100,000 a year. And there's quite a few of those employees throughout the United States. As you can see, there's millions. So when you think kind of middle market or middle America, it's not so much the blue collar, which is what Assurity has been known for many years. We actually do best in the $150,000 and under. That's where we're priced best. That's what our product's kind of built for specifically. So, but that covers more than just those blue collar workers. That covers, software developers, engineers, a lot of medical professionals as well. So keep that in mind when you're thinking Assurity. That $20,000 a month that we have for the cap for the Century Plus, that actually comes out to about $450,000 a year. So we can write those high income earners as well. We're just priced best in the middle market. So going into small businesses. So we have small businesses, big opportunities, and they are really big because there are more than 5 million small businesses in the United States, and 39 million employees make up those businesses, which is a crazy amount of people that are most likely not getting group benefits because they're too small. They're made up of 5 or less employees. So they're either leaving them high and dry, or they're just not sure where to go. And most business owners have not been talked to about insurance. It's just not at the forefront of their mind, even though it should be. Because especially those business owners, not even just their employees, it's really important for them to think both paycheck protection, so protecting them and their own family and their monthly income, and then also protecting their payroll, what we call payroll protection, so protecting their employees, protecting their business, making sure that the business can carry on in the event of them coming disabled. So why Assurity for small business? So we have some perks here. If they kind of fall into the range of owning if they own at least 10% of the business, bring in $30,000 net income a year, and have been in business for over a year, we can give them these first 2 discounts. So we'll bump up their income by 20% with that business owner income enhancement. Business owners, we can also bump them up an occupation class if they meet all three of those requirements. So they could bump up from a 2A to a 3A, which obviously lowers their premium amount. The multi-life discount. So like I mentioned, small businesses of maybe 5 or less employees, maybe more than that, if they write a policy on themselves, maybe they write one, a BOE on for their business, and then they write one on all of their employees as well. If you have 3 or more policies go issued, we'll give you a 15% multi-life discount. So 15% off the personal DI, 5% on the BOE per month. So really cool opportunity there. We make it just a lot more affordable for business owners. So that's kind of why it's one of our niches. Moving into pink collar, we kind of talked about this already, but we just want to look at where women constitute the majority of employees. So this may not come as any surprise to you. However, it's a mostly untouched market for whatever reason. So there's a ton of opportunity here in the market, and Assurity does really well in this space because the majority of these are going to be 3As or 4As. So medical and health service managers, we have event planners, social workers or counselors. Teachers is a big one, and then those registered nurses is a huge one. That's a great opportunity. More than likely, if they're in the hospital, they're going to be a 3A. Again, if they are a nurse or work in a doctor's office, like a family practice, they will be put at a 4A. So they're going to get an awesome rate there. Again, huge untouched market, so it's a really cool space to really dive into since most agents aren't talking to these people. Dual income families are on the rise. So when there used to be the majority of women were stay-at-home moms, now the majority of them are actually going to work. So we need to protect both of those incomes. Total employment is projected to grow 14.3% this decade, which in turn is probably due to a lot of those women going back to work. Medical professionals, just a note to make, we will write them at 24 hours per week. Typically for disability, we need someone to be at least working 30 hours per week to be considered full-time. But those medical professionals, because of those 12-hour shifts they work, we'll actually write them at 24 hours per week. And then nurses, I already mentioned 4A occupation class for those that work in doctor's offices, 3A for hospitals. Just some resources here for you to look into and kind of get a better idea of how the products work, where to use them, how the underwriting works, all of that. You can find that on AssurityDI.com. It's just a little micro site. It has all that information there. There's some cool sales ideas there based on different jobs as well. So I would highly suggest taking a look at that. Again, it's AssurityDI.com. And then AssureLink. If you are a contracted agent with Assurity already, you should have received a 4-digit agent ID to which you can use to log into AssureLink, which is our agent portal. In AssureLink, you're able to run illustrations. You can keep track of your business, look at underwriting product guides for any product with Assurity, and then there's marketing materials and training in there as well. The e-app and the paper apps all sit in there too. So a side note, we do have e-apps, paper, and tele-apps available. E-apps and paper apps are available for all of our products. Tele-apps are available for our DI products. Especially with disability, it's important that I mention that we do upfront underwriting, which makes claims time quick and easy. So we do all of the health, all of the financial verification upfront, so that we don't have to do any of it or redo any of it at the time of claim unless there's a need to, because we find something else out. However, it's done all up front. So once they get to that claim time, they just fill out their claims forms, turn it in, and they start getting paid. There's a customer service line if you ever need help. So help with quotes, pending requirements. So you have questions on some of your new business and where it's at. Or underwriting questions that you can't find in the underwriting manual. feel free to call that 800 number, and the extension is 4264. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we do have everything in-house, and we have an in-house interview team. So if someone does need to do a phone interview, they can rest assured that they're going to talk to a real person that's located in Lincoln, Nebraska, that works in-house and is able to answer any questions you have. Another thing we do have, and we have these available for pretty much every single product we've done now, we have podcasts available on Spotify, Apple Music, and you can Google them too. They're on a couple of those different podcast websites as well. If you type in tips from the insurance pros online or on Spotify or whatnot, you'll be able to find it really easily. And we interview sales experts throughout the market that work with Assurity, and they go through what works well for them, different sales ideas, their experiences, and all of that. And they've been really popular and have gone really well. So if you are a podcaster, you live for those podcasts on your drive to work or drive home, look for that tips for insurance pros. Again, my name is Morgan Hobein. I'm the regional sales coordinator here, and my partner is Paige Phelps, so you might see her name thrown around as well. She's the regional sales manager. Most likely you'll be reaching out to IAMS here first to get help with anything you need and with case design and case management and all of that. But feel free to reach out to either Paige or I as your regional team if you do need anything at any time. With that, I will open it up for questions. I don't know that I see any in the chat right now. Tony, I'll have you check your chat as well. Otherwise, you can definitely reach out to IAMS and talk further about that disability.
Okay, Morgan, I am seeing one. Will a copy of the presentation be available?
You bet, yeah. Tony, I will send it to you here after, and then you can send it out to the group.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Looks like that was the only question that we had there. Hang on, before I turn this back over. Okay, let me take over for you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let me get this here. Okay, so I want to thank everyone again for joining our webinar today. Whether you sell a lot of annuities or do a lot of life insurance, income protection is extremely important for your clients. And with May being Disability Awareness Month, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of different materials out there in regards to Disability Awareness Month. So as always, feel free to give us a call. We can answer any questions that you have, run disability proposals for you. A couple of things before we go. Again, if you would like more information on the topic that we discussed, I'm sending something out now. If you could just please answer yes or no, we'll make sure that we'll get that out to you. Also, again, you can give me a call here at 800-255-5055 or shoot me an email at tony@iamsinc.com. So I'll leave this up for a little longer. Make sure that everybody responds to this. Okay, looks like we still have a few more responding. And while we're waiting for everybody to finish responding, real quick, you don't have to be an expert on disability insurance. If you need to know if your client needs disability insurance, the answer is yes. But quick question that you can ask them to start that conversation is, what would they do if they were either injured or sick and could not work? what is their plan for paying their bills. And if you get, I don't know, answer, that has opened the door for you in regards to disability insurance, because you are protecting their income. Okay, so I'm going to close this down. And last question. For any of you agents that are new times and you are not contracted with us, if you are interested in being contracted with Assurity or any other carriers that we do work with, I've got a polling question here. Just go ahead and answer that, either yes or no. And I'll make sure to get out additional information to you. Okay, looks like we've got that answered. All right. Again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join our webinar today. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Hope you guys have an outstanding day and a great rest of your week. Thanks. Bye.